Good morning. My name is Hector Mercado. I work for the Housing Division and I provide information about tenant landlord rights, relocation, home ownership, and what we call the committed affordable units. What we consider affordable housing? Affordable housing is places that are livable, that you can rent and basically pay 1/3 of your income for rent. And that includes everything, utilities, and the space. For example, if your income is $4,000, then your rent the utilities should not exceed $1,200. This is based on the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Of course, that doesn't happen. A lot of people are paying more than 50% of their income. And that's happening not only in Arlington, it's happening everywhere. But this is the baseline that we used to go. So, what are the affordable units in Arlington? Arlington County doesn't own any properties that you could rent and pay your rent based on your income. So what we did is we reached agreements with apartment complex owners and developers, and under those agreements, they separate some of their units and rent the units, giving them a discount from the market value. These discounts are varied. Depending on the agreement, some of them could be at 50%, 60%, 80%. Yes, there are some units that are 10%. So that means that depending on which unit you're able to get or qualify, you will pay that percentage of the rent. So in this, the county doesn't have any involvement at all in the renting of the unit. We don't give any priorities. We don't pre-qualify anyone. It's completely and directly you with the owners or the landlords. This gives you the facility to talk directly with them. You don't need to use a middleman, in this case the county, because you deal directly with them, you verify that everything is perfect, it's to your satisfaction and the amount is good. That way you can rent it directly. They do the income verification, they do the checking, they do everything. Now, how this is good? You don't have to lose time asking for the county to qualify you, ask permission, or give you anything. You directly do it with them. Now, we monitor that these apartment complexes are complying with the agreements. As a matter of fact, we do spot check them and verify that the people living in those units are really the ones that should be living there. At the same time, we do inspections now. We have a contracting company that does inspections, and they also check that the places are maintained and livable. Of course, that's not all the time and all the units, but we do check. Since it's a spot check, we can have that very clear. We have about 11,355 units in the county that are affordable, and they're available to the people. Of course, not all the time they are available. Now, what we call market rate affordable are apartment complexes that, even though they don't have an agreement with us, they do have a lower cost because of some circumstances. One, they are not close to transportation, they are not close to amenities, they don't have any amenities, to be specific. They could lack parking, they could lack laundry rooms, they could lack pools, because that's something that they used to attract people. The more they attract people, the more they can charge. Because of that, they have lower rents. Some of these are also at the same level of the affordable unit, if that's the case. But there's no requirement of them to be kept like that. But they are there. And we're hoping that they will keep being there because as the time goes by, they could either be demolished and a new building constructed, and we will lose that affordability there because they will be more expensive if a new building is. But we're trying to maintain it. Now, for all these units, since they have different discounts, the Department of HUD, the Housing Department, has set up some values that determine how a person is qualified. This is what we call the area median income. What it is, they get in an area where the metropolitan area of Washington, they get what is the highest amount and the lowest amount, and in the middle they say this is the amount for a family of 4. And based on that amount, calculations are done to determine lower incomes, higher incomes, bigger number of people, and values are established that determine who can qualify and how they can qualify. These are the income thresholds for this year. The standard is 4 people, household of 4. It's the standard family size, husband, wife, and 2 children. But of course, we have it at 80%. That means if a person is single and it's 80%, and his income is lower than $83,400, he can qualify for programs that are under that value. If it's a number of a higher number of members, the amount increases. But if it goes lower, if your income is the income needed is lower if you're at a lower base. Let's say, for example, for the housing voucher, if you are going to receive assistance on a family of 4, the maximum income or that you need is $49,000. So you could qualify for receiving the voucher in that case. So all this table, although it's a little confusing and the calculations are a little hard, is used for everyone to determine the ability of receive assistance. This is not only for housing, it's for food, shelters, everything. Also, they calculate a base rent that is used on that determines. So, affordable apartments, since they are not owned by the county, they are privately owned, could look like any other complex. Some of them are mixed. That means they have tenants that are market. They pay the market rent, and at the same time they have affordable units. So the maintenance and the services are the same for both of them. The only difference between one and the other is what they pay and what they qualify for. But they look like any other apartment in Arlington. Now, for affordable units, we have a list on our webpage. This list is separated by neighborhoods, and it provides the name of the complex, the address of the leasing office, and the telephone number of the leasing office. All you need to do is contact them. On their webpage, also we have a link where you can register to receive the list every month. It's a list of vacancies that we compile. And you can contact us if you have any other questions. It's, our telephone number is there. And if you want to email us, there is also an email at the end of the presentation. To apply, you go through the same requirements that any tenant may have. They will ask for a valid ID. You can use a passport if you don't have an ID of the county. They will ask for social security card number. Lately, they don't ask much, but you may have to provide to some of them if they also receive federal funds. Or you can use identification number that is provided by the Internal Revenue Service. So that can be used too. You'll have to provide proof of income or other financial assets that you may have. For example, you're receiving money from the lottery. They may ask you for references, somebody that can vouch for you. Now, the last part that was passed is that you can pay by cash or check or money order, and they have to accept it, but they can also receive other forms of payment depending on the lease agreement. So you have to check on that, how you're gonna pay. The persons that have the voucher for affordable units, all of them can be accepted. It just takes a little longer. So make sure that you have your documentation if you have a voucher or if you have a housing grant. That documentation is provided by the Department of Human Services. The social workers usually provide you something, and you can take that to the landlord. And that's basically what you need to apply. If you have any more questions or details, our table is right behind the door. We have our number and our email. And please come and be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hi, everybody. How are we doing? All right. I just want to make sure it's this button here. Okay. Jennifer, my name is Nicole Dula. I am the Housing Assistance Bureau Director. Here in the Department of Human Services, I'm in a division called Economic Independence. We are located, Housing Assistance Bureau is on the 3rd floor of this building. I'm going to talk to you all about our housing programs and services. I'm also going to talk about our Community Assistance Bureau, which is located on the 1st floor, and they do a lot of the crisis connections, direct engagement with the community for some important resources that you all may want to know about. You all may have friends and family who might need to be connected to some supportive services and or our programs. So I'm just going to share with you information that we provide and we have available. But my team, who is also in this room and in the next room, as you exit, are also here for any questions that you may have. So I apologize if I go through this a little fast. There are some QR codes, but we have staff available who can talk to you more in depth about any questions that you may have. All right, how many have heard about a housing choice voucher program? Show of hands. Okay, how many have heard Section 8? Okay, well, if you didn't know, DHS serves as a public housing authority. We operate the Housing Choice Voucher Program, formerly known as Section 8, here in the Department of Human Services. It is 100% federally funded. These are very deep subsidies. We have a number of vouchers that we are able to allocate to the community to assist very low income individuals, families, particularly our seniors, disabled, as well as working families. We have a few specialty vouchers that are targeted to certain subpopulations, such as veterans. We have vouchers for children who are aging out of foster care or are reunifying with their family. And then we have some special vouchers that are also targeted to some of our affordable housing developments out here. So we call them project-based or building-based vouchers in the community. For households to qualify for the program, you're expected to pay a tenant contribution of 30% of your income, and then the Housing Choice Voucher Program covers the rest up to payment standards that we set for our region. These vouchers are completely portable, which means that even though we administer a voucher here to households to lease up in the market, these vouchers, you can move and take it anywhere across the US where there is another public housing authority. So we have voucher holders that we initially leased here, but are in Miami, maybe in California, maybe somewhere else. So that's one of the benefits of the federal program Housing Choice Voucher. Because this is a very demanding voucher, there's a number of households that really, when there's the opportunity to apply for these vouchers or get on the waiting list, typically Housing Choice Vouchers only have a limited number of vouchers in their community. So for right now, Arlington County has a closed program for these vouchers. But I'm sharing this information about this program to you all today because around our jurisdictions and sometimes in other cities, they may be waiting lists that are opening, letting you know that, hey, that housing authority has a voucher and you're eligible to apply. So we just share with everybody, stay tuned to some of your community announcements. When public housing authorities have vouchers that are on the streets, you want to make sure that you get onto those waiting lists, or tell your friends, tell your family to get on those waiting lists for a chance to obtain a voucher. Very deep subsidy. The program also builds in some inspection components, so that's one of the requirements when you're on the program. There's recertification, there's annual inspections, but it is a very, very deep subsidy for families in need. So speaking to those that may be here that are either on our waiting list, waiting for their name to be called so that they can accept a voucher. If you applied for Arlington County's Housing Choice Voucher Program when we opened our waiting list in 2023, you would have enrolled through our applicant portal. We want you all to know that please keep your contact information up to date while on that portal so that if your name reaches the top of the list and we call you for a voucher, we want to make sure we reach you because you've probably been waiting right now for about 3 years, if not more. So connect with us if you're on the waiting list. If you want to get subscribed to our resident portal, we can help and assist you with that. Similarly, for those who are voucher holders here, again, keep your contact information up to date. Always connect with your housing specialist if there are changes in your household. And then please maintain and stay in compliance with your housing inspections when they come up every year, as well as any recerts. Okay. There are QR codes here too that can take you directly to our website. Permanent supportive housing. We offer subsidies for households that are disabled in our community. We have a limited number of slots for this particular program. While Arlington County offers this, this is a referral-only program. This is only for households that are connected to the Department of Human Services. So if you have an active case with either our Aging and Disability or Behavioral Health or Child and Family Services with a disability, you can have that case manager refer you to this program. Again, it would be a critical housing need, and what this program will do is we'll provide a rental subsidy. We'll also have case management, and then you're paired with a housing specialist that's going to regularly support you while you're in the community, help you establish either housing plan goals, whether it's life skills. We provide all the supportive services to help that person with disabilities sort of stabilize within the community. Sorry. How many have heard of our housing grant program or know somebody who is receiving a housing grant? Okay, fantastic. All right, this is incredibly important, and I'll spend more time on this program because it is an open program, and I do have staff in the other room that have applications. should you all want to take them or if you want to apply today. This is a county-funded, 100% locally funded rental assistance program. The eligible households for this program include you must be a working family with minor children. We provide support to seniors age 65 or older. You have to be a household who is either disabled or you're connected to our behavioral health division, which is on this campus in the building adjacent to the garage. We are also currently operating a pilot for transition age youth, and these are youth who are connected to our homeless services system. And we are also supporting youth who are aging out of foster care. So there are a certain limited amount of slots that we have for this pilot program to which the housing grant will pair a subsidy for these eligible populations. The income or tenant contributions for renters that receive a grant, you have to have a minimum income and support at least 40% will have to be turned over to your landlord when you lease in the community. There are certain income and asset levels, but the beautiful thing about this grant is you can take it. A number of our CAF, committed affordable units here in Arlington County, support the housing grant program, and so you're able to take your subsidy and lease here in the community of your unit of your choice, but there are maximum allowable rent limits. As I mentioned, this program is open, so if you have questions, I have staff in the other room that can actually walk you through the application, what you need, as well as the resources. If you're a working family, here are minimum income requirements. So if you're a single parent household, we ask you to make at least the minimum wage. So $325 per week. If you're a 2-parent household, that minimum income amount doubles per week. If there are additional adults in your household, we will expect adults that are age 18 and over will also have to contribute to the minimum income or the minimum income per household. But some adults may receive exemptions if they're taking care of other minor children in the household, or if there's an older adult in the household that requires sort of full-time care, they would receive an exemption for meeting that $325 per week. And this is only for working families that qualify. Here are the income limits. Again, QR code if you want to just take a snapshot of this right now. If not, more information will be available in the breakout rooms. Hold on. Good? All right. Awesome. All right. So, while this program is open, it's one of the only open subsidy programs that we have for residents in our community that are low income. Because this is a very attractive program, our county board has recently voted to close the program, which will close effective September 30th. So this is why I'm spending time on this today, is because I want you all to make sure you get the word out. I want you all who are possibly eligible for the program to apply now. The costs and the participation of the program has continued to soar. So we are going to be going on a road show within the community to make sure our residents, as well as their family and friends, know about the program. We're encouraging folks to apply today because we will be moving to a wait list, which is similar to how the Section 8 or the Housing Choice Voucher Program works. So what that means is, after September 30th, when we move to a wait list, anyone who is interested in the housing grant will have to subscribe or apply to the wait list opportunity. We will close the wait list, and then we'll only be admitting new households upon turnover. So that could be, it could be months, it could be years, but we have a budget limit now for the housing grant program, unfortunately, to where we now have to operate this program through a wait list. And we're happy to talk more about that. We'll also be in the community a lot this summer and then through September, so that we're making sure the message gets out. So Please stay tuned for more details from us, also connecting to an online portal for those that are existing participants in the program. We'll also be connecting with those who receive current subsidies, because this is an impact as well for households. Should they lose or temporarily lose their subsidies, there is a high risk that you will not be able to get back onto the program until there's another waitlist opportunity that opens. So this is a lot of big changes that we want to make sure that the community, as well as those who are participating, are aware of as we move forward. So DHS, in terms of the Economic Independence Division, I've got plenty of these flyers as well set up on the outside of this conference room. We do more than housing, right? We do things from food assistance, child care support. If you're looking for employment information or supports, resume creation, we do it all. And so you can just come into this building, share these resources with your friends and your family members, come into DHS first floor. If you have any sort of supports that you may need from housing to, as well as just household needs, we can assist you with that. So I have a colleague of mine within the Community Assistance Bureau who's also in the adjacent conference room. She can talk to you about any of these services, SNAP, WIC. We help with application assistance to these public assistance benefits. If utilities, sometimes households have to make some hard decisions in terms of rent and may fall behind on your utilities, and you have sort of a balance that's owed. We can help you out with that. So more information you can also be conveyed with you through Nat Tanim, who's in the other conference room. Eviction prevention. We know households are sometimes with high gas prices. Things happen, life happens. So if you happen to fall behind on your rent, it's not the end of the world. DHS is also here to support those who are in our community that have an active lease and have an ability to repay. You just need a one-time sort of rescue fund to help pay your rent. We have some eviction prevention resources here in Arlington County to support you. Employment, I mentioned education, any connections to Medicaid, health clinics, immunizations, you name it, we probably got it. So call us or visit us here at DHS on the first floor. We also are the lead agency for homeless services here in Arlington County. My team, and there's Miss Trina's in the back. She'll be in the conference room as well. We lead our efforts here in Arlington County along with our nonprofits, many landlords, a lot of community advocacy groups to respond to homelessness within Arlington County. We are built to strategize what that strategic plan looks like, because our endeavor is to end homelessness, either before it occurs or to help support our homeless residents that may be unsheltered, connect to resources so that we can stabilize them in any one of the housing programs that I covered earlier today. So this may not apply to you, but we hope that we can advocate and make you champions for those that you might find on the street, or if you know families that might stumble and are facing homelessness. We'd like to catch them before they enter our shelters. So there is a contact number for those that are experiencing homelessness, or if you want to connect to us and join our efforts in our plight to end homelessness in our community, feel free to join us, come out to any one of our public meetings and join any one of our number of committees. We'd love to have you join our partnership in those efforts.
So we talked a lot about how to obtain a CAF unit. We talked about the services that go along with the CAF unit. Now we're going to talk about what actually goes on inside the unit, and if you have any issues, what to do. And one of the things we want to talk about is, why do we even expect our committed affordable units? And the reason why is because per the county loan agreements, physical inspections are a part of the compliance reviews of our committed affordable units. Now what that means is there's an agreement, there's a loan agreement, there's the owner and there's the county. And we expect all of our owners to be able to have all of their units, I'm sorry, no, you're fine. we expect all of our units to be, clean and sanitary for all of our residents. And that's one of the biggest things that we need to do is be able to educate, not only our owners, but our residents as well. You guys have rights. So one of the things is we want to be able to explain is that the inspections assess the physical status of the overall property in the individual unit. So not only your unit, but also outside. So that's common areas, that's your trash areas, that's your sidewalks, all of those different things. And the goal is to be able to ensure that the property and the units are safe, decent, and sanitary. Now, when you have an inspection, we call it more of an observation, a visual assessment. And what do we observe in our CAFs? We see a lot of different things. And if you ever see any of these things inside of your unit, please contact your property management company. Please start the process to be able to get it fixed. Put that request in writing so that you can start the process. Because one thing that we do see is, hey, you can tell that maintenance man while he's doing something else, and he might forget about it. So one thing you need to do, especially as a tenant, put that responsibility on yourself. Go to the leasing office, in person, or do it online. These are some of the examples that we see in the bathroom. So if you ever see your soap dish or your towels coming off, report that. On this picture here, this is actually a hole behind the toilet. Something happened there. They had a hole. The person did not respond, but when we came out, I think the person was more relieved that somebody actually took a look at it and said, you know what, don't worry about it. We just want it fixed. Because one thing we don't want a leak, and we definitely don't want pests going back and forth. Here, this is a common thing. You're gonna see your bathroom fixtures, they might fall off. They may be aged. Just report it. If it's leaking, definitely report it. Some people actually have to pay water. So if you have something leaking, your toilet leaking, your sink leaking, anything like that, report that. And then to here, this is that caulk that you may see is starting to deteriorate. Get your management company in to be able to replace this, because what this does is it just starts to fall apart, it looks ugly, and then on top of that, what it'll do is it make your tiles look like this. They'll start to come apart. In the bedroom, these are some common things we see in the bedroom. Broken doors. So if you ever see a door like this, you're at a friend's house, you're at your house, your family member's house, and you see it like that, that's not safe. We want to make sure that people are able to get in and get out of units, because if there is an emergency, this door may not open. Here, it may be a little hard to see, but there's a power strip right here, and what it did was it actually heated up this wall. So this wall, the paint started chipping, it got all the way down to the drywall. And these are one of the things that we want to be able to tell people, power strips, they are hazardous, especially if you're not using them correctly. Here, this is a light switch cover, and it's cracked. The light switch might work. You may feel like, it's nothing, but you could cut your finger. It could start a fire. Anything could happen right there. And then here, you see this a lot in a lot of apartments, especially when you have water damage. Here, if you start to see those signs on your ceiling, you can't wipe it off, contact management. There might be a leak upstairs. It might be leaking from their air conditioning. It may be anything. Their bathtub, definitely report it. When in doubt, report. Here in your kitchen, you may not be able to see it, but there's 3 burners that are on and this one's not on. Some people, what they do is they say, you know what, 3 of them are okay for me. But really, you don't know. This thing might be leaking. It might, you never know, and if it doesn't work, someone may say, oh, let me light it. And that's not the way you want to be lighting these. Then here, now this light switch is actually broken. Some people may say, you know what, I always leave it on, it doesn't even matter. But really, it does matter, because again, someone said it out here, it could start a fire. And here, your non-working outlets. Now this right here is a GFCI tester. What it does is, you usually see those in your bathrooms or your kitchen. What it does is it stops that electrical current from shocking you when water hits it. If this isn't working and you're at your sink and there is electrical current that's coming through there and it shocks you, it can shock you. Like you have a metal sink there, it will shock you. Your whole countertop will be electrified. So one of the things we want to do is be able to say, hey, look, if it's not working, if it's broken, or you're in doubt, report it. So, how do we report these things? So, one of the ways that tenants can report them is calling our Housing Information Center, also known as HIC, to share their concerns about their unit conditions. CPHD Housing Division or DHS, if it's one of those properties, we'll contact management after confirming that the tenant is allowing us to be able to share their information. One thing we will do is we will contact property management for you, but you gotta let us know and say, hey, we're okay with you sharing your information, because you calling us and giving us an anonymous tip, if you will, to say, hey, I want this fixed, doesn't really help the problem. You know, that's why we want you to at least start the process, put it in writing, so then that way we could be your backup. We want to be backing you up. So, if it is a CAF unit, housing division staff may visit the property if management's response is either inaccurate or inadequate. Going back to how DHS handles it. You know, DHS will handle it a different way. They'll still do an inspection. And then, of course, if landlords are cited for a deficiency, it's either going to be a 24-hour or a 30-day notice. And we go back and we'll follow up to see if things have been fixed. And then, code enforcement. Some of you guys may have seen code enforcement out and about. Their number one priorities is safe structures and safe occupancy. These are the things that they're responsible for and their legal authority. The Virginia Maintenance Code, Virginia Uniform Statewide Building Code, the condition of the private property ordinance, noise control ordinance, sidewalk snow removal ordinance, blight ordinance, and building standards. So if you want to report a violation, if your landlord's not responding, say you don't live in a CAF, this is the route you want to go. And when you call, you put in your request for them to come out, they will give you all the information that you need to be able to come to your site. Okay. So we're out there inspecting, but if you're not associated with a CAF, this is the route that you got to go through. And this is what I was saying about starting that process with putting your complaint in writing. Because this is the only mechanism you may have available to you to be able to, number one, get your landlord's attention to say, hey, something's wrong and you're not fixing it. But then also there's other resources here to be able to back you up, to be able to say, okay, let's help you through this, because this is a legal case now. Okay?
And I just want to add, code enforcement staff is next door at the table, so they can answer specific questions as well.
They are right there.
Oh, never mind.
Right there. Yes. Right there. I told you the help is here. It's in this room. So public health. Public health, they do immunization, school health, parent information, education, women and infant children program, WIC, sexual health services, family planning, teen health, sexual transmitted infections, environmental health, emergency preparedness, and disease surveillance. And if you have any questions or concerns, their number is here.
And environmental health folks are also in the table next door,
Yes.
so they'll.
Yes, they are. And last, we have vector control services. Now, these are one of the main things that we see inside these units, and we definitely want you to get the services you need. So, the advice here is saying respond to service requests for rodents and bed bugs at certain public facilities, share information on prevention and control, and they work with code enforcement.